Hello, dear listeners. I'm your host, Genevieve Hopkins, and welcome to episode 39 of the Wheel and Cross podcast. It's pumpkin season. Pumpkin soups, pumpkin pies, roasted pumpkin, stuffed pumpkin. How many ways can we find to cook and eat this autumn staple? Pumpkins in all their glorious variety can be used as beautiful seasonal decorations. And then there's the fun of carving and lighting jack-o'-lanterns. But where did jack-o'-lanterns come from? And how did they become such an icon of Samhain and Halloween celebrations? Let's explore the origins of jack-o'-lantern and his depictions in modern literature and popular culture. This podcast is free, but if you like my work, please consider subscribing to the Wheel and Cross Substack page, www.wheelandcross.substack.com. I would also appreciate your reviews on any of the podcasting platforms you use. Feel free to share this podcast and leave comments on the podcast page. Welcome to episode 39 of the Wheel and Cross podcast. Samhain, Part 3, Jack-o'-lanterns. As always, I would like to acknowledge the custodians of these lands on which I work and live in Australia's capital region, the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, and I pay my deep respects to their elders past and present, and to all First Nations and First People across Australia. Jack-o'-lantern's origins are rooted in the Irish custom for Samhain, the Celtic festival marking the end of summer, the last harvests, and the beginning of winter. As we've learned in episode 37, Samhain Part 1, Bonfires, Divination, and Ancestors, Samhain was considered a liminal time in between the warm half and the cold half of the seasonal year. At this time, the veil between our world and the other world is thinnest. Spirits, fairies, and malevolent beings from the other world were believed to roam the earth at this time. Many European cultures developed different customs designed to ward against or frighten away these evil spirits, such as dressing in costumes and wearing masks, as we explored in episode 38, Samhain Part 2, Trick-or-treating, games, and scares. Before pumpkins were discovered by colonists in the Americas, Irish and other ancient Celtic nations carved turnips with frightening faces for Samhain Eve and lit them up by placing candles or burning coals inside their hollowed cores. Carved turnips were used as lanterns to protect anyone journeying outdoors on Samhain night, those participating in guising, which was a precursor to trick-or-treating, or placed in windows to protect households. These turnips were called moots on the Isle of Man and tumshees in Scotland. As Christianity spread throughout the British Isles, the custom of carving turnips developed into the folktale of Stingy Jack and the Devil. According to legend, Stingy Jack was a notorious trickster who bargained with the devil to avoid being taken to hell. Instead, he was doomed to roam the earth forever with only a burning coal to light his way. It all started when Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him, but didn't want to pay for the drinks. Instead, he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to pay for the drinks. Jack decided to keep the coin and placed it next to a silver cross, preventing the devil from turning back into his original form. Jack eventually freed the devil, but only after making the devil promise not to take his soul when he died. When Jack did eventually die, he found himself barred from both heaven and hell and was doomed to wander the countryside forever. The devil gave him a single burning coal to light his way, and Jack placed it inside a carved-out turnip to create a lantern to guide him. And so, the first jack-o'-lantern was made. Irish immigrants brought this tradition to America, where pumpkins, which were larger, more readily available, and easier to carve than turnips, became the primary vegetable for carving jack-o'-lanterns. Over time, the tradition evolved into the modern-day practice of carving pumpkins for Halloween. However, the original custom of carving turnips for Samhain continues to be practiced in some regions of the British Isles, particularly on the Isle of Man and the northern regions of Scotland. Jack-o'-lanterns are familiar icons in Halloween-based literature and popular culture. Washington Irving's famous story, published in 1820, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, features the Headless Horseman, a ghostly figure carrying a jack-o'-lantern in place of his severed head. Many editions of the book have been published since Irving's first edition in 1820. Several films based on the story have also been produced. In 1942, Disney released its adaptation of the story in the animated film The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. In 1993, Tim Burton released his beloved stop-motion film The Nightmare Before Christmas, about the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, Jack Skellington. Burton also produced the 1999 horror film The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Another Halloween staple featuring jack-o'-lanterns is the iconic animated Charlie Brown special, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Released in 1966, it follows the comic strip Charlie Brown character and the rest of the Peanuts gang on Halloween night, waiting for the Great Pumpkin to appear in Linus's pumpkin patch. Jack-o'-lanterns also feature heavily in scenes from the Harry Potter book and movie, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, first published in 1997 and released in cinemas in 2001. The story and movie feature a lavishly decorated Halloween feast at Hogwarts School, replete with floating jack-o'-lanterns, which is interrupted by the appearance of a troll in the Hogwarts bathroom. With pumpkin season in full swing, why not try your hand at carving your own jack-o'-lantern this Samhain? Carving pumpkins is easiest, and you can roast the seeds for a delicious snack, or if you have some large turnips you'd rather not cook, try carving them for a more traditional Samhain custom. I hope you enjoyed this short exploration of jack-o'-lantern, his origins and his place within popular culture and literature. Next week, in the final episode for the spooky season and for this turn around the wheel of the year, we will explore the creatures of darkness and their connections to Samhain or Halloween, including the creatures of this world, black cats, black dogs, black birds like ravens and crows, and black horses, and the creatures of the other world, ghosts, headless horsemen, skeletons, fairies, goblins, vampires, and werewolves. Until then, I offer you a Samhain or Halloween wish. May jack-o'-lanterns burning bright, of soft and golden hue, pierce the future's veil and show what fate now holds for you. See you next week for episode 40, Samhain Part 4, Creatures of Darkness, Witches, Black Animals, and otherworldly beings.